Baturdays. Baturdays. Omnidog and the Minister of Comics talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat with a name like that, you think they talk more about the fact. Baturdays. 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 In the BatCave.
This makes, oh gosh. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore. I'm bailing. I'm done. All right. Oh, are we live?
Hello and welcome to When to Bail on a Comic Book. Baturdays in the BatCave. I'm Omnidog with the Minister of Comics. We already heard one opinion on when to bail on a comic, except I think we both read that all the way through before we said, what did we just read? And it's never changed. Yeah, it's never changed ever since then.
No, I had it on my shelf for probably about 2 years, thinking I might return to it one day to see if it made more sense. And then I thought, you know what? I have 2 kids, full-time job, time's too short, too many good books to read. I don't want to reread a bad book. So it's on the sell pile for sure.
No, and nothing against Lee Bermejo, but I didn't really care. I know everybody feels like Lee Bermejo is a top artist, and to some degree, I agree with that. But his depictions of like Harley, the demon, some of these other characters, it just didn't do it for me. The characterizations, the illustrations, it didn't help me with that book, and neither did the writing. So
I'm not somebody who thinks that good art can save a bad story. I just don't think that's. I mean, I don't like buying art books. I know some people do. If you love that, that's great. I'd rather just look at the images online than buy an art book. But I love great art in conjunction with a great story.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think great art can save a bad story. It's still painful. Now, a bad story and bad art, that's a 0-0 situation. There's no winning there at all. Like reading The Dark Knight Strikes Again by Frank Miller, bad story, horrible art, all around bad. Now there's All-Star Batman and Robin. If I had to pick one to read, I'd pick All-Star Batman and Robin, but still bad, even though it has great Jim Lee art.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't get into Bermejo's art. Everything looks dirty. And actually, we need to give Marcelo a shout out for the thumbnail, because he said as soon as he heard the title that I'd be reading New Warriors. And I said, well, you're just going to have to watch. And that was one that was co-created by my wife taking the picture and Taylor's idea. And then he stuck the angel and the demon on it with a bucket and root beer. That's right. Good pickup, Alexandre. They were there.
I can't tell if he's confused. Maybe he doesn't know about your root beer reviews.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I used to get bad reviews, okay, that's a good point. When I used to read bad books, I'd stick it in a bucket and dump really cheap root beer on it, because at the time it was Root Beer Reviews, where I'd always have a glass of root beer with and review the books, which I can still do, but I don't drown my books in root beer anymore. But yeah, that was the idea behind that, was a callback to when I used to dump root beer on bad books. Let's see. Here's an idea. Let's see. The stream hasn't started yet, but I read the first 12 to 18 issues before I drop a book. I dropped King's Batman after volume 4. I enjoyed it, but it was hit and miss for me. I also dropped Snyder's JL after 12.
Now that's a book that we're procrastinating on.
Sorry?
We're both hardcore procrastinating on Snyder's Justice League right now. We keep saying we're going to read it, but I don't know if it's going to happen soon.
We're both eager, I think, to read Death Metal, but I don't think we're that eager to read Justice League Volume 3.
I've only read Volume 1, and it wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't compelling either. But the thing is, you have to read the whole thing to really understand death metal, from what I've understood.
And I will say Volume 2 is better than 1 because it's not so bifurcated with like a good first story and a not so good second story. I felt like book 2 was a little more consistent throughout. And at this point, I'm probably, I don't have to reread it, but I'm going to have to go over it again. And I know you're not participating in Villain of the Year, but I'm going to try and burn through it really quick when I'm done with JL and then get on with death metal. As a matter of fact, we had in the previous live show I did today, there were a couple people saying, "How do I read metal? I don't have any reading orders." And I'm like, here you go, right in the Omnidog's vault. Taylor and I did a review metal reading order, and people, I think, don't want to wade through the 500 videos that I have, and I get it.
Just look it up on YouTube. Just put Omnidog metal, and then it'll come up.
Yeah, I think I referred them to my library, and they found it that way by, I think, typing it in the search in my library or whatever. But yeah, I am excited to read death metal because then I can get on with my DC reading. Not sure what is so hard for us to read that JL Volume 3 and just get it over with and move on to death metal.
It's very dense material.
Yeah.
It's not a quick read, so you kind of have to like sacrifice a couple days to read it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like lately I've been doing a lot of rereads lately, returning to books that are quick, easy, fun reads. Because now that I have 2 kids and I have less time, it's really hard to wade into something really deep, intellectual, and like really dense.
So,
you know what I mean?
Avengers Hickman wouldn't be a thing for you to read right now.
Well, I am doing my Hickman readathon for X-Men
you are?
right now. I'm rereading House of X and Powers of 10, but I've read it before, so it's not like totally. And I got the omnibus today, but came in damaged, so I gotta get a new one.
Which one? Let's see.
So this is the non-damaged section. But I'm excited to read it, though, and get a new copy. And read this and X of Swords, and then dive into Inferno when that comes out at the end of this month.
Right.
I heard that's a really good ending.
I heard so, too.
That's not included in the trades, is it? The Dawn of X trades?
Inferno? No.
Okay. I've heard that it's pretty much almost like a direct sequel in ways to Hawksbox, with Moira McTaggart. Like, it's really big into that.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that. I'm not going to say anything else, but I've heard it's a really good ending to what started in Hawksbox.
And is Inferno by Hickman also?
Yeah. So okay. I'm just getting the stuff by Hickman. I just can't. Okay. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, go to our X-Men No More video that we did 2 months ago, and I'll explain my frustrations with X-Men at times.
Captain Macabaka, it's 2 a.m. here in Sweden, so this would be perfect to have this in the background now, and I'm going to bed. Prater, what's up? I am nominating the Minister of Comics for the next Academy Awards.
Keep my name out of your mouth.
What was that from?
You haven't watched the Will Smith video from the Academy Awards?
No, I understood, but why was he nominating you?
Oh, because acting at the beginning. With the Batman Damned.
Oh, okay. Bavarian Rev. Hi, everyone. Thanks for making my Saturday night so much better. That is a great compliment. I've been really sick for like a week, but getting better. Good. I'm glad you're getting better. Oxmead, I feel like I haven't talked to you forever since we haven't been having the unbox and chill videos.
We haven't had Baturdays in the BatCave for a while. We've had like one every month for the past couple months.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But I'm back, I think, in being able to feel decently enough at least half the day. So,
well, last time you were out partying.
Oh, I went to a wedding. Yeah, partying. Me and my club soda.
You can party without alcohol.
I know. A book I wish I gave up on was Nightfall. I'm feeling you, buddy. Same. Here's a question for you.
Is it a question or a comment? A few years ago, you made a Batman Collected Editions wish list. Yeah, that was one of our first videos. I watched it a couple of days ago. Most of the books you wanted actually got printed. You have to go back and look at that. I think I remember one was Catwoman by Ed Brubaker that got solicited, and that's not out yet though, is it?
No.
Then Dini, that Paul Dini omnibus that came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Batwoman, Batgirl omnibus, and Batwoman. So yeah, a lot of our stuff came to fruition.
Yeah.
I'll have to go look at that list again.
Yeah, me too. I remember that Call Me told me about that a lot of the things we wanted actually came to fruition. Good story is more important. Totally agree.
I don't know if it had anything to do with our video. A lot of them were kind of no-brainers for me, but you never know. Maybe the DC's Collect Editions department woke up from their nap and watched our video by accident and made some good choices. I don't know.
I'm debating if I should bail on Master of Kung Fu Omnis. I bailed on The Filth by Morrison. Yeah, I couldn't possibly get into The Filth. That's one I tried 3 or 4 pages into, and I was like, this is over my head. I don't understand, and somebody else could probably enjoy it. I don't know. Master of Kung Fu's very Bronze Age. It's going to be up to you, Nelson. I read it and liked it because it was a nostalgia thing. But I also dug all the crazy racial references that were allowed back then and that you could never do now. Like Fu Manchu was like the yellow dragon or yellow claw or whatever.
Was he the bad guy?
Sorry, yeah, he was Master of Kung Fu's father in the book. That
Marvel book that I read, All the Marvels, he has a whole chapter about Master of Kung Fu. This is the guy who read all the Marvel comics, ever published.
I bet we could.
He did a whole chapter about Master of Kung Fu.
We got to get that guy on. I'm sure he would still come on.
You have to read the book first.
I'm not going to do that. You read it. That's enough.
You always want to read the books before you have the interviews. Come on.
Do you?
I'm just saying that was always your thing.
Yeah, that's true. I'll take a book with amazing art and a bad story every day before one with bad art and a good story. Otherwise, I could read those books without pictures. I think we all agree we want good story and good art.
I at least want serviceable art that's not distracting.
Yeah.
An example of that.
Are you going to New X-Men?
No. I was going to talk about something else, actually. Fantastic Four by Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, yeah.
You have Jim Chung. You have Vito Scalera. I don't know how to say his last name. Both are top-tier great artists. And then at the end, Ramon Perez, who's usually good, just really comes in with sloppy material. It doesn't ruin the book because the story's still good, but it's just really dips in quality in the art, and it really distracted me. Whenever art distracts me, that's when it's not good. There could be fine and serviceable art that's at least goes along with the story, but if it's distracting me and pulling me out of the story, it's really hard for me to pay attention and not be annoyed.
Yeah. Let's see. Richard Bagas. Hello there. Hey, Richard. How you doing? We like your avatar. Snyder's Jail is too much. The universe is ending every week. I get that.
That's the hard thing with Avengers and Justice League. It's like there has to be a cataclysmic event for them to be coming together every single issue.
Hawkeye says, as a kid, I was so excited that Hawkeye was leading the West Coast Avengers, but the art by Al Milgrom made me not like the book. I stuck around for about 20 issues, but stopped buying it. The only thing you need for Villain of the Year is Hell Arisen. Well, I hate myself, so I'm going to read the whole thing.
I don't hate myself, so I'm going to treat myself kindly.
And John Anderson, good evening. Peace and love to you, John. Warren Weaver, who's responsible for my reading of Gen 13. Only book I technically bailed on was JLA by Morrison. Not that it was over my head. It was just boring.
I've never read that before.
I read it in floppies for a while, but I haven't read the whole thing.
Do you have the omnibus or the hardcovers?
I have the hardcovers.
That's what I thought.
Mel says yes, half cover off price sale. They have Snyder Deluxe 1 and 2. Is it worth it at $17.50 a piece?
If it's for both of them, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
The art in the first one's fantastic. That's for sure. I can't speak to the second one.
Oh dear. This is my very favorite Batman story.
I just reread it 2 months ago and I still love it. I still like Broken City. I don't get why people hate it. I
don't either.
It doesn't make sense. I just don't get it. I think they're both. I think Night of Vengeance is obviously better, but I think Broken City is a really great noir detective story.
Yeah. But Richard Bogus, you're still welcome here. We welcome all viewpoints. Even if you don't like my favorite Batman story ever, it's all right.
Although Earth 1 might be your favorite.
Oh, that's my favorite book.
Okay.
If I can separate.
I guess they're different,
yeah. I started buying Spawn with issue 8 and dropped it with number 70.
Wow, you really gave that a long shot.
Did you really bail on that? I also bought all the miniseries and crossovers wide that it would live up to its potential. Could you guys do a crime corner for Jessica Jones? Interesting.
You were just talking about that.
We were just talking about it before the show, how I haven't read Alias, and that would be a great crime corner book.
I don't think we've done a crime corner for like 6 months. I can't even remember the last one.
Well, yeah, things got crazy for you in January, so I think it's hard for you to do maybe
it's
that
also,
extra.
I think it also just became really hard to coordinate reading with each other. And so I think we just started doing more topic stuff, which people seem to like better anyway. So I think that's probably why we haven't done it in a while.
Well, I'm fine if you want to read Alias at some point for the next crime corner, because I got to read it. I mean, yeah. I have to. It's supposed to be so great, and I really want to.
I read the follow-up stuff that Bendis did a couple of years ago too on Hoopla. I'm not sure if you have them in your collection. There's like 3 trades, I think.
Jessica Bendis did them?
Yeah, Bendis and Gato's return for another Jessica Jones. It wasn't called Alias, it was called Jessica Jones.
I read the Kelly Thompson ones.
I think that was before the Kelly Thompson ones.
Okay, then I haven't read them.
So you might not even have them.
I definitely haven't read them.
Yeah, because there's Alias, there's the Pulse series. I don't know if you have that one.
I have the Pulse series.
There's the Jessica Jones by Bendis and Gaius when they return. It's just called Jessica Jones. I think there's the Kelly Thompson stuff. I think that's it.
Has the Bendis stuff been collected?
Just in skinny trades.
Okay.
Nothing else. No Omni or no.
And where did you read?
Big enough for an Omni.
Did you read it online or you bought the trades?
I read it on Hoopla.
Oh, you read it on Hoopla?
I actually read it on Hoopla back whenever I was in DC for our visit. I remember that was one of the things I read while I was there.
A Marvel book was on Hoopla?
Yeah, they have a lot of Marvel books. They don't have as many as DC, but they still have some.
Oh man! All right,
it's more hit or miss.
Well, I would like to.
You need to spend a couple hours scrolling through Hoopla.
I do. Yeah, you're right. Dom says, just after 1 a.m. here in the UK, just finished reorganizing my Batman collection. I'm going to chill and watch the stream before bed. Now that's a fan. 1 a.m. and he's exhausted and he's just going to chill and watch the stream. Thank you, buddy. I've learned to drop books quickly, not more than 2 or 3 issues, and then I'll drop if I don't like it. And here's a compliment for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's actually my video that's done the best. I think it has 12,000 views now.
Wow.
It got me like 20 new followers, which is great. I just
nice.
thought it was an easy, fun, dumb idea, but people seem to really enjoy it. It was basically how to maintain your collection. Number 1, well, you should probably go watch it, actually. So go to @Minister of Comics on Instagram and watch my latest reel. I'm not going to bury the lead and tell you what's in it. So go watch
bury
it.
The lead. I'm sending you a message real quick.
All right.
And I'll explain afterwards.
Jess is going to tell me to stop hogging the time and stop.
Not at all.
I'm just joking.
Craig Stewart just dropped me by to say hi. Have a good stream and night. Going to catch up on the stream tomorrow. Craig, good to have you here, even if just for a minute. Here is actually a good question. Here's my question. Do you think my precious Omnis will be damaged if I store them on a bookshelf that is next to a furnace vent?
By furnace vent, I assume you mean let's like one of your grates that come up in your room, not like next to the furnace. Yeah, I think it's fine. I have one that's it's probably 10 inches away from my shelf, and I've never had an issue.
Okay.
If anything, in the summer, it can actually be good because you get some AC pumping, and that could actually be good for your books. So,
yeah, and I have a return vent in my. I had a return vent built into this room, so that it helps keep it dehumidified.
Right, because I have a dehumidifier going right now, and AC is really, really good in the summer because it also takes away humidity out of the air.
Moisture,
so,
yeah,
it's really good to have that going as well. So don't block your vent in your collection room.
I'll let you answer this question.
Is that Paul Dini Omni really worth getting? Thinking about it because I love his work, and he wrote Batman Arkham City. Love that game. I think Paul Dini is my favorite Batman writer ever. He wrote the best episodes of BTAS, and I think that omnibus is fantastic. Have you read that stuff yet, Jess?
I haven't.
You have to. It's amazing. A lot of it reads like Batman animated series because a lot of the issues are self-contained, which we both talked about how we miss that in comics. I love arcs. I love really long stories, but I also do love one and done stories that are really satisfying in of themselves. And that was probably a big part of your childhood growing up, but it's not really in comics anymore.
Okay, good point.
So I think it's a really good throwback to how comics used to be.
Yeah.
And I think Heart of Hush is better than Hush itself because I don't like Hush that much.
Yeah, please like the stream, everybody. Click the stream. We've got over 70 people in here, and I have no idea how many likes we have. But if everybody could hit the like, we'd appreciate it. I have a very low density and can't get into material. Probably you meant tolerance. I have a very low density tolerance and can't get into material that makes me think too much. If a book tries to slow walk me into some sort of idea, I won't continue. Okay, so that's when Lloyd's going to bail.
Lloyd, you are my density. Can you name that movie, Jess?
You are my density? Is it Destiny?
No, they meant to say that, but they said you are my density.
What is it?
You give up?
Yeah.
It is Back to the Future.
Oh, I haven't seen those since they came out in the movie theater.
Whoa, what? That's one of my favorite movies, the first one.
I believe it. Have you guys heard Jed McKay's MK Run? It's fantastic. I am going to wait till that gets collected into something like a complete collection over an oversized hardcover. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Maybe that's something I'll read on MU until it gets released.
Yeah, I just spent this past week rereading a bunch of Moon Knight stuff. I read all the Marvel Now stuff by Ellis, Brian Wood, and Cullen Bunn. And I just finished the Jeff Lemire stuff again. Oh, this past summer, I read the Max Bemis stuff. First 10 issues were fantastic. Last 2 ruined the whole thing for me.
Oh, that's what it was.
You
told me that
I was like, man, this is like a really great Moon Knight story. The last 2 issues were horrible. It went from a 9.5 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10 for me.
Oof. Wow.
It really dropped off a cliff hard. Isn't that getting a complete collection next week or something?
Yeah. Not this week, but the following week. It got pushed back a week. And I'm going to get it, and I will see if I agree with you. I almost bailed on Star Wars Legends of the Old Republic omnibus, but I'm so glad I didn't. I ended up loving it. So you have to be careful when you bail on something. Good point. I will give you an example of when I bailed on a book, and I've reviewed this book, Black Stars Above. I'll tell you right when I bailed on it.
You remember the exact page?
Oh, yeah. First of all, it was ponderous and meandering up until this point, and this is halfway through. And then we ran into somebody's journal entries.
Ooh, that's always rough when you hit a prose page on a comic. Oh my god.
I'm not done yet.
Isn't that like Providence by Alan Moore? Is like that?
Yes, I'm not. Oh, and that's another thing I bailed on. I'm not done yet.
I love reading
novels. Look at all this.
I love reading novels, but whenever you hit prose in a comic, it really just takes the wind out of your sails.
I wasn't that interested in the story. If I was really interested in it, like The Last God had that stuff in it, but that
or
was
the Seven to
important.
Eternity has that a lot too.
Yeah. But that was important to the story, and I'm sure this was important to the story, but I also stopped caring about the story, and I bailed right after that.
I'm sure the instruction manual on the side of my water heater is very important and very good information, but I don't read it. So it's kind of like that. It's like I'm sure this information is important to the book, but I don't care.
I got one comment about after I reviewed Black Stars Above that was pro Black Stars Above, and that's fine. I'm glad somebody liked it. And they were talking about how that narrative really fills in the stuff, but I was sketchy on whether I was going to continue as it was. And I hit that wall of text and I said, forget it.
You know, there is a book in my collection that I've had probably for 5 years that I haven't read yet. I know it's going to be good, or I know I'll probably enjoy it, but the prose aspect of it is really holding me back from it. And that's AD After Death by Jeff Lemire and Scott Snyder. I've had that hardcover for years. So it's a mixture of prose and comics. I don't know why. I'm like, I know this is going to be a commitment. And so I haven't sat down to read it.
I haven't read it either, but I didn't know there was all that prose.
Yeah, I'll have to, hold on, let me go get it and show you.
Okay.
Over here.
I just started reading DMZ. Have you watched the HBO show? I have not.
So lazy, I'm not getting out of my chair.
I really did like it, DMZ. And I'm glad it's on HBO because then it won't be canceled after 36 seconds.
It's only 4 episodes and they're done.
Oh, 4 episodes for DMZ?
It's pretty much has nothing to do with the original comic. It's totally different characters, different.
Whoops, sorry, just a sec.
This kind of stuff. It has comic stuff as well, but it has a lot of prose. And I'm sure it's good. I haven't heard amazing things. I haven't heard bad things either, but I just haven't set aside the time to read it yet. So it doesn't look as painful as the one you showed me though, with the legit whole wall of text.
Yeah, that looks doable at least.
Right.
But mine was just like, oh, wow.
I definitely have to get to this sometime this year though.
Okay, maybe we can read it together.
Yeah.
Call me Top Gun 45 update. Ended up ordering the Gotham Central Omni, and I'm reading the Batwoman run through my library. Good for you.
Both are fantastic.
You are welcome. Oh, it was $17.50 each for the JL books.
That's still a good price.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get it at your LCS and not have to deal with shipping and all that kind of stuff and paying for that. That's a good price.
A series I heard was bad or mediocre was Falco's run on FF. Ironically, I loved it. I have not read that. I assume it's probably in Epics, but I'm not such a huge FF fan that I'm going to go out and search that. I'm happy with what I have so far. It's okay, Richard. All opinions are welcome here. Broken City is great. A lot of people did not like the art style, which I love, but I loved 100 Bullets.
I couldn't get into Moonshine. I tried the first volume and it wasn't bad. It didn't compel me to read more.
And that first volume is what compelled me to read more. So if you didn't dig it, you're not going to dig the rest of it.
Brian Azzarello his writing can either really hit a solid note with me or it could really hit the wrong note. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he writes in a very circuitous way that's really strange, and it's just like, I don't understand what's going on. The plot is kind of confusing. Even at some points during 100 Bullets, I'm like, I don't know what's going on in this issue. I don't know who's who. I don't know what the point of this issue is. Sometimes he can just be very confusing. And Batman Damn, that's all it is. It's just confusing. So sometimes his writing can be ponderous for me.
So you wait. So you bailed on. Wait. Did you? I'm getting confused here. 100 Bullets, Broken City. Okay.
I bailed on Moonshine.
Moonshine. That's what I was going to say. You
And
did
so-
bail on Moonshine. So that's so far 5 trades. But at the end of one, you decided I'm not interested in going on. So a reason to bail, when to bail on a book, is when you're not compelled to move forward in it too. Even if you read the whole first book, doesn't mean you can judge. I think you can judge that series by the first book, because I loved the first book and it made me want to continue, whereas you did not, and you said, that's it, I'm out.
The only thing that can maybe help me move on is if somebody told me, oh, well, the first book just isn't that great, but the rest of it's awesome. Sometimes that happens. Like, there's a lot of TV shows where the first season's not that great. Like the first season of Parks and Rec is kind of torturous. It's not really that good. It's
oh
not
my
very
God,
funny.
I love the first couple of seasons of Parks and Rec.
It just the first season, because it was trying to be an Office ripoff, because Leslie Knope was like a female version of Michael Scott. And that's not who Leslie Knope is for the rest of the season. She's a very lovable and caring person. That's not who she was in the first season. A lot of shows take time in their first season trying to figure out its identity and who they are. And so sometimes you have to give people a season and see how it goes after that. But I have to hear from other people, like, okay, trust me, it gets way better after the first season. Sometimes that happens with novel series or with comics too. But if I don't have that inside information from someone I trust, it's hard to know when to go forward.
Yeah.
And so I try to limit bailing on books that I physically buy by doing my research and reading it digitally beforehand, or at least knowing I love the creators. Like, I'm never going to read a book by Ed Brubaker that I'm not going to finish. I really have a hard time imagining that. Or Tom King. So or Tom Taylor. These are guys I trust, and I know I'm at least going to be compelled in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some Brian Azzarello. I might bail on a book, I might not. So I have to read it digitally before I read it physically. So I want to make sure I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money and not enjoy it. Because nothing's worse than buying a book, reading it, and not liking it. That's a horrible feeling, for me at least.
Oh, me too. Batman Damned was such a huge disappointment to me because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough when you waste your time. It's worse when you add in wasting money to that.
Yeah.
And I'm a cheapskate, so I hate wasting money.
Mm-hmm. I hate wasting money too. Justice League International, I'm familiar with it. It's not my Justice League, so it wasn't my I'm not into it. I understand why people are into it, because it's their Justice League that they grew up reading. I tried it back in the day, didn't like it, and then I tried it again when it came out, and I didn't like it. So it's just not for me. If you dig it, heroing, I think that's great. I am absolutely not going to shame anybody for liking a book just because I didn't like it.
Is that the Bwahaha era?
Yeah.
You know, it's a series that I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that, because I'll get like roasted at the stake if I say that. I've tried to finish it so many times, and that's Sandman. It's not that it's bad. It's not that for some reason I always get, after the third trade, I can never move past it. I don't know what it is.
Do you get bogged down?
I just get bogged down. I want to read something else. I just don't return to it. I don't know what it is. Do you have a series you've tried multiple times? It's just like, it's not that it's bad. It's just I can't get it.
Invincible. I have read the first 3 hardcovers 4 times, and I've never gotten past it. I know it's supposed to be great. I know everybody loves it. I just, for some reason, have the hardest time. Maybe because it's like 12 hardcovers that I'm having a hard time committing to. I mean, I've recommended it to people based on my first 3 books that I've read. I have such a hard time moving on to book 4. I don't know why. But yeah, I do have.
And I love Neil Gaiman. I love American Gods. I love The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I just, for some reason.
I love that book. Ocean at the End of the Lane.
I
loved book. American Gods, but Ocean at the End of the Lane, that's I think
that might be his best.
I think so too. And I think it's an underloved book because it gets overshadowed by American Gods.
Have you read the Graveyard book? That's also really good.
Is it a prose or his comic?
It's almost like a prose children's book where it's illustrated and it also has prose in it. It's basically the Jungle Book, but instead of being raised in the jungle, an orphan's raised in a graveyard by ghosts.
That's right.
And there's a guy who's trying to kill him because he killed his family, and he's trying to finish the job. It's really good.
Does that have P. Gressel art?
Oh yeah, there's a comic based on it too. Yeah, they had a comic version of it after that.
Okay, well, I don't think I've read that.
Have you read Coraline? That's a really good book too, and a good movie.
Yeah, I have Coraline, but
yeah, that's a good movie too. So I need to try. I tried Hickman like 3 times. It's not, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I enjoyed it. For some reason, I just don't move forward past volume 3. I don't know
Same
what it
with
is.
me and Invincible. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a crime that we haven't had Crime Corner in a while. I think it's 6 months. I have no idea. We both enjoy doing it. I think it's also hard because it doesn't get as much. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. It doesn't get as much interaction or views as Baturdays does. So I think we probably focus more on this show.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. But I know we have a bunch of books, especially the Marvel Noir books that we want to read for it.
I did read 2 of those. I need to finish the rest of them. So I need to read that. So we need that could be our next 2 videos, Alias and Marvel Noir.
Okay. I need to read both of those. I bailed on all X-Men before Claremont Lee Omnis. I bailed on all the ones after, up till New X-Men.
Well, Jess, we talked about some books we've bailed on. What is your criteria for bailing on a book? Like, at what point is enough? It's the last straw that broke the camel's back. Like, you just have to walk away from that relationship.
I love the way you what terms you put that in, because it is a relationship you're building with a book. I would say the characters getting fleshed out enough for me to care about whatever they're going to be doing. I want a reasonably straightforward book where I'm not having to second guess or read into what the writer's trying to say. Because I really should have quit halfway through Grant Morrison's Nameless. I think if a character's doesn't have a compelling enough story, or we don't know, or the character's not interesting, because I'm all for being having characterization in a book that's interesting, and if it's not that way, or if it's sloppily put together and doesn't make a lot of sense, like Batman Damned was pretty sloppily put together and didn't make much sense. I should have quit it, but I just had to see how it was going to finish. And that was a mistake, but
that's what I thought about Marika Tamaki's Detective Comics. Read the first volume on Hoopla, and it was one of my least favorite things this year.
Wow.
It was just, the story was so uninteresting. The main villain was just dumb. Like there was nothing new or nothing fresh, nothing original. I know people love to hate on Tom King's Batman run, but that is filled with fresh and original takes, whether you like it or not. I just like artists and writers that take a chance and try something new. And that book was just the same old thing with the same old characters. That was just my opinion. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to put myself through volume 2.
So you're bailing on that.
I'm bailing on it.
Yeah.
Unless someone who knows me well. Because here's the thing. I appreciate when everybody gives me recommendations, but not everybody knows what I like as much as someone like you knows what I like.
Yeah.
And so I take your recommendations very seriously. And I'll take other people's recommendations seriously, but I take yours even more seriously because you know what I don't and do like.
Yeah, same with your recommendations for me.
And I think sometimes we can feel pressured to continue with a book that gets a lot of praise, even though we don't like it.
Yeah.
Because you almost feel like something's wrong with you. Like, I'm not seeing what's so cool about this book. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about art. It's very subjective. It's okay if someone else loves it and you hate it. It just is what it is. Art strikes us all in different ways. But sometimes you can feel pressure, like I should try this book and keep going with it because everybody else loves it. But if you're not hitting with it, if you're not enjoying it, don't put yourself through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then there are the bait and switch books where the first half is interesting and good, and then the second half it falls off a cliff. I'm looking at you, Downriver people.
The Wake.
The Wake, which totally unstuck the landing. But Downriver People is one of those things that took a hard turn off the cliff after the second half, because I think all three of us agreed, Kristen's the other one, that it was interesting. The premise was very interesting for the first half, and then it went way off the rails, and just kind of I feel like we almost felt angry that we used up our time on that book.
I felt bad because I'm the one who said let's read it. It sounded like a book that all three of us would like, and none of us liked it. So yeah, I felt bad about that one.
Batman Creature of the Night, fantastic book that caught me by surprise, and now one of my favorite Batman stories. Can't go wrong with Busiek's writing.
I almost bought that Metro book that came out last week at Astro City, but Busiek has said they're going to do a hardcover at some point, so I'm not going to buy the trade paperbacks. Even though they look really compelling, I've decided to wait for the hardcovers.
Well, I think you should,
because I love Image hardcovers. They're my favorite hardcovers.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do a review of Astro City because that compendium is coming out, but it will still count for the hardcover versions, and I'll mention those hardcovers then too. The dusting part of Taylor Brown's video was classic. When he closed the door on that cute little kid and the dog, that was, I legit laughed out loud, because I know both those. I know that dog and I know that kid, and there's Sam smiling as his dad's closing the door saying, "Not today, son, not in my room."
He loves to look at my books, and I want to foster a love for reading, but not with my comics yet. But I'll get novels from the library, and he loves to look through them, and there's no pictures. I think he likes to be like me and just copy me. And he just goes through it and looks at me and smiles and stuff. And I'm trying to foster that love for reading without him damaging my books.
Yeah. Well, if only it were that easy, Dean.
Yeah, to do that, you have to pre-screen everything that you read. Like, you have to read it digitally, which that is a good idea. But sometimes you have to jump on a book quicker, or it's a book that you're going to like. Like Brubaker and Phillips. I'm always going to buy a book that they put out. I'm never going to just read it digitally first.
Now, here's a good question for people in the chat and for us, for Alexander from Serbia. Please, can you give me some Batman one-shot story recommendations?
Does that mean like a one-shot issue or a one-shot like book?
Let's go with one-shot books.
Like a one-shot issue would be harder.
Yeah, because we don't collect those really.
There's so many of that for Batman. That's a hard one. I'm not going to go the traditional route of Batman Year One and Dark Knight Returns. I'm going to try to get a little more.
How about Batman Earth One?
Those are fantastic. That's a series, though. That's not a one-shot.
Well, he could read the first book and just be happy.
There's one
first book.
It is fantastic. It's one of my favorites. One that doesn't get enough love for me is Batman Year 100 by Paul Pope.
Oh, that's a great book.
That's like a futuristic Blade Runner version of Batman. That's fantastic. Where Batman actually wears like vampire teeth and bites people. It's a fantastic series.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that at all, you and I.
I have to reread that this year for sure. One that we just talked about is the Batman Deluxe Edition by Azzarello and Rizzo. That's fantastic.
I agree with that, Alexander. You need to read the Batman collection by Ellison and Azzarello and Rizzo. Yeah.
That's really good. I'm trying to think what else. I think Gates of Gotham's a really good story that people don't talk about very much. That was like a pre-New 52 book by Kyle Higgins and Scott Snyder. Oh, Batman Universe by Bendis.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's really good.
If you can find it or read it on the DC app, Batman Snow is a great one shot. It's also included in the J.H. Williams Tales of the Dark Knight book because it's out of print. but it might be on the DC app. I don't know what things are like in Serbia, but if you can find Snow, I know it's out of print, but that was a great one-shot story.
Mm-hmm. Trying to look behind my Swamp Thing figure. It dominates that shelf.
I know, and I've got a...
Man, I love that. That might be one of my favorite figures from on my DC shelf.
It is great. What about Batgirl and Robin year 1?
I was just thinking about that. I just didn't say it because there's 3 of them. Because there's Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin. But those are all fantastic, especially Batgirl. Batgirl is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I think you can just say Batgirl, and you don't have to read Robin, even though it's great. But Batgirl's so good.
That was like an A+ for me. Robin is an A, and then Nightwing's like a B. Yeah. I thought Nightwing was fine. It wasn't great, though. But the other 2 were amazing, especially Batgirl. That, I think, is that Marcos Martin? That art was fantastic. Oh, Black Mirror, also a great one. I love that Absolute. Too bad it's out of print. That's one of my favorite Absolutes. I would say no besides Hush, because Heart of Hush is a part of that omnibus. But I feel like most people have read Hush, though. So, and that's a pretty readily available book. So I would say Hush is probably the only thing you have to read.
Yeah. Elvis, I get this. Bailed on Preacher and the Boys after reading the first volumes.
Same. I had to.
Yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
There are just some books that I can't read as a minister. Like, I have a certain threshold. I have a pretty high threshold for a minister, I think. But there's some things. Like, I read a lot of crime books. I read a lot of stuff with other things in it. But for blasphemy at a certain level is just, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I just can't do it. But one book that had angels and demons in it and didn't offend me at all was Light Brigade by Peter Tomasi. That's a book that nobody knows about, Jess, but they need to. It's like a supernatural version of Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan. It's a supernatural story set in World War II, and Jess and I both love it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads.
Well, the people that watched my Hidden Gems section, my Hidden Gems video from last week will know about it because I included it in that.
I thought you were trying to call me out for some reason.
No.
I thought you were trying to say I didn't watch it or something.
Oh, no.
Some people watch my videos.
Oh, no. Well, some people, Taylor, who actually watch my videos, that's what that would sound like.
That was one. I'm glad you sent me that for free because I never would have bought it otherwise.
I thought you might dig it.
What? It's Peter J. Tomasi, so he's always a hit for me.
Yeah. What do you have any figures you're looking forward to? I think Batgirl you were looking forward to.
I already have that one.
Did that already come out? The Three Jokers Batgirl?
Yeah, we both have it.
We do?
Yeah, you have it too. You told me you bought it.
I bought it, but I don't think I had it shipped yet.
But it came out like 4 or 5 months ago.
You know, I may have canceled that.
Ooh,
I may have canceled that.
That's a great Batgirl.
That is, but I already had the first Batgirl, so I think I canceled it.
One that I'm confused about when it's coming out, because you can only pre-order it on Target, and Target's terrible with pre-orders. You have no idea when it's coming. It just shows up at your house one day. And that's the Batman Zur-En-Arr.
Oh, yeah.
Did you pre-order that?
I did. That and the Batman with his chest piece that glows.
I have no idea when the Zur-En-Arr Batman's coming out. I have no idea. I check every few weeks, and there's nothing. So I really want to get it. What else am I looking forward to? There's some great Marvel Legends stuff, like a Spider-Man wave coming out this year.
That Spider-Man wave that you and I are both interested in. That's the only Marvel Legends that I'll be buying this year.
There's nothing else from Marvel coming out this year that I'm interested in, which I'm kind of happy with because I don't want to really buy a ton this year. I'm trying to be more sparing in my purchases. So Zur-En-Arr and then that Spider-Man wave is pretty much all I'm excited about this year. I can't think of anything else. But doesn't mean that there isn't anything else. I just can't think of anything.
Yeah, I would say there are a few Mafex Hush figures that I want to complete my Hush collection. But I'm not sure they're coming out. Well, I'm not sure they're coming out this year or 2023. Mafex is pretty good. I mean, I'd have to look on my toy order from Big Bad Toy Store. Oh, and this reminds me. Everybody can go use their code.
And nobody reminded you.
I know Lloyd is dropping the ball. Organicpricebooks.com, which has its description down below. Use my code Omnidog for $2 off. 5% more off if you agree to have 3 or more books shipped together with Omnidog Ship It Together. And if you want to get in touch with me, there's omnidogsvault2@gmail.com. And for Organic Price Books, use the link that is provided to you underneath in the description. That's a hot link. Takes you right there.
Yeah, but you're not really buying many figures this year, I don't think, though. Aren't you cutting back on figures?
I am. I have to.
Tyler will buy enough for the both of us.
I think so. And I can't get jealous of what he buys because that's his thing. And so he's really going to always be buying figures and dioramas and stuff like that because he's a good action photographer and that's what action figure photographer and that's what he digs. But I am just running out of room. And my room's just going to get less and less as my life goes on. So I'm cutting back on everything that I'm buying, with the exception of some Mafex and Mezco figures. The Legends, no. Bavarian Rev says, personally, even if I hate an omnibus, I will still struggle through it. I don't know that I can just bail on a whole omnibus.
I don't know if I ever have because I basically buy the ones that I know I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah. Well,
it's really hard.
I did open up New Warriors for that thumbnail because I had so many people not named Omar texting me about how great it is, including Kemi Jacobs, who is a friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, who really, really enjoyed it. So I am going to read the New Warriors omnibus, and I may do it sooner. Maybe I'll put up a poll on what I should read first, the New Warriors omnibus or whatever a comparable omnibus is to that. I can't think of a comparable omnibus like
in terms of like setting and time, like in the 80s.
Well, I don't want to put it up against something that's just going to crush it, like
Alias or something.
Yeah, yeah. I want to put it up where people are like, a few people know it and it's good, and other people are like, maybe. Maybe I'll put up Cap by Remender against it.
Maybe that's one I need to read. That's been on my shelf for several months and I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah. Or
that Conan by Busiek. I still have to read that too.
I do too.
I think Tyler wants to read that. Maybe all three of us can read that at the same time.
That'd be fun.
Because I can't imagine Tyler enjoying that, but maybe he will. Conan is just him decapitating people violently. So, but he enjoyed the Authority omnibus, which is very violent. So maybe he will like it.
Yeah. I just bought my son a $200 plus Stormtrooper. Taylor Brown, just wait when you start buying your son expensive toys, aka stuff for you too.
Yeah, I'm currently we actually went to Target today with him, and he really loves the Cars franchise. Lightning McQueen and all that. So he has a big car collection and Thomas the Train collection.
Oh yeah.
And so we found a Doc Hudson Hornet from Cars Day, and he was so excited about that. He's in the car. He's like, open, open, open. And I said, wait till we get to the car. Open, open, open. So I was like, wait, buddy, you have to be patient. I'm trying to teach him patience right now. And I stuck to my guns and waited till he got in the car. I remember as a kid, I had to wait till I got home to open my toys.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to listen to him in the car, but I got him to wait 10 minutes till we got to the car. So I felt like that was a small victory.
Open, open, open.
The Doc, open, open.
I bailed on Alan Moore in general. He and Frank Miller went nuts, and I'm not interested anymore.
I like to read the things from them that I enjoy, and other stuff I'll just ignore.
Yeah.
Frank Miller after 300, go with God, but I'm not going to read you.
Yeah, exactly. Providence has how many pages with instructions in the middle? Geez, brutal. I'd bail too.
Yeah, I got really into collecting Avatar comics, and by Avatar, I don't mean the movie by James Cameron that's getting a sequel after 15 years. I'm talking about Avatar, the publisher. And one series I asked you about was Providence, and you said, "Nope, not for you. Don't buy it. It's not for the Minister of Comics." And Avatar isn't known for their family-friendly content either. So that's saying something.
And we've both read a lot of Ellis books on Avatar, and they are pretty brutal.
And the Ennis books. Have you read Red Rover Charlie?
No, I can't.
I remember. That was a great book. But Caliban, we both read that.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Very violent. I don't think there is an Avatar book that's not violent.
No, I think that's what it's known for, over-the-top violence. And Ellis went crazy on some of those things.
I still have to read No Hero. I haven't read that yet. That was the one you were told not to read because it was too violent and you loved.
Oh, by people. Yeah. People messaged me in one of my YouTube videos and said not to read it, but I read it and loved it.
I know Jess, he doesn't love realistic violence about things that happen in like real life, like things like Unknown Soldier with the violence in Africa. Like that wasn't for you. But I think you can handle a person getting their head kicked off across the street and their blood spurting from their head. I think you can handle that kind of stuff. It's so over the top and not realistic.
Correct. Like Big Man Plans, love it.
Now that's a book where that's a pretty tough read for some people though. I reread it and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it's probably the top 3 most violent books I've ever read.
It is very violent and full of revenge. It's revenge violence, and he makes no apologies for the revenge he wants on people.
I'm here to rage and get respect.
That's right.
And the new updated version just came out, so definitely buy that if you don't have it already.
Hey, Aiden, how's it going?
Wow, you're really far behind, aren't you?
Oh my gosh, I'm half an hour behind. Well, we've been talking so much.
I was gonna say I saw that like 45 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh, let me see how far behind I am. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm
Everybody's commenting right now. We'll get to you in 30 minutes.
Just a sec. Let me try and take some comments and get caught up here. Okay, where are we here? Tim Sale is an acquired taste. I totally agree with that.
I love his art, but I know Jess doesn't like it. I can see why people don't like it though.
I can deal with it because I know the story's good. Falco's run was in epics. Okay. My problem is series that I enjoyed and were discontinued. Aztec, The Ultimate Man, Books of Magic, Seekers into Mystery, Lucifer, and of course,
Hellblazer by
Rarg.
You can't read that final volume and get so mad that they didn't let him finish what was going to happen after that.
It's really angrifying.
It's like one of like the coolest reveals, and it's like, well, I guess it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt? Like, I want to see what happens after this.
I was ready for another 24 issues just on that.
I wonder if there are 100 issues after that. I would have read as much as he wanted.
Yeah.
I love that one mermaid issue. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but that was a fantastic issue.
No, that's the one amazing.
That's the one that really stuck with me out of all of them.
Yeah, same. Rev didn't care for Moonshine either.
Yeah, I think Azzarello has that effect on people.
I get this.
Yeah, I really enjoy his run, but I could totally see why someone wouldn't. And that's why I never tell people who are trying to get into Batman to read that first, because you have to have a good, solid knowledge of Batman under your belt to really get the most out of it.
I loved Fade Out so much I gave it to my sister for Christmas, who's not a comic book reader. And difference of opinion, no problemo. I don't take it personally. Just means there's different set of opinions. Morrison's JLA saved the Justice League franchise. Haven't seen Moon Knight, if you're referring to the TV show.
I'm not gonna say anything because Jess doesn't like when I say anything about stuff he hasn't seen yet.
I don't. For me, Noctera is not good for me. I thought Noctera was interesting.
That was another one I couldn't finish.
Oh,
no, that was another one I bailed on after the first volume. I'm just really burned out on independent post-apocalyptic comics. That's like every comic now. Same with Geiger by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, one of my favorite duos. That comic did nothing for me. I just didn't dig it, and I'm not going to continue with it. And the other thing is that's going to be a whole comic universe of other books spinning out of it. So
I don't know. I haven't read it, so I don't know.
I just feel like a lot of these post-apocalyptic comics just seem identical to me.
Yeah, well, I love Undiscovered Country, and I know it's ongoing. I can't wait to keep reading it by Scott Snyder. That's post-apocalyptic, but post-apocalyptic post. Like what happens after things go bad, and then things are different nation states, and it's really interesting. I thought
a book I really need to read is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Did you ever read that back in the day?
I'm not gonna read that book.
You're not gonna read that book? That's it back in the day. How do I know you wouldn't read it?
I would never read that book. God, that sounds terrible.
Why? Because of the subject matter?
Yeah, no, I don't want to read that.
It came to my mind because post-apocalyptic. That's why I thought of it.
What a heartbreaking premise. No, I couldn't possibly do it. Here's Kristen's dad, Larry's Library. Go to his YouTube channel. He knows a ton about comics. Bailed on the Prose Teen Titans on Omnis. Had all 3. Couldn't get through volume 1. I just hate Robin. That costume makes me wince. I'm not a DC guy in general, but I do like Batman, and I love Perez.
You sound like Dave McKean. Back in the day, whenever he and Grant Morrison were doing Batman Arkham Asylum, he refused to draw Robin because he didn't want to draw the costume, and so he put Robin in a trench coat in that book.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
He's like, I hate that. I'm not doing Robin. He didn't even want to draw Batman. He just wanted to draw the Joker.
I didn't know that at all. Let's see. Such a jest book. No, I like my JLA serious. I don't like them goofy. It's fine with me that Batman knocked out Guy Gardner with 1 punch. That's it.
Ooh, you know what the worst book I read this year is, Jess? Trinity War. That was horrible. I'm in the middle of my Jeff Johns Justice League readathon, and I need to take a break from it because it was so bad. That part was so bad. It was horrendous. You have no idea what's going on. It just kind of just ends. And it's just really random. And I don't think Ray Fawkes, he's added to the list with Steve Orlando.
Oof.
He just doesn't write to my liking.
Not to my liking either. Those were the hardest issues to get through in the Justice League Dark book. But they, unfortunately, as I told Taylor, that and the Forever Evil Blight, which was the weakest Forever Evil, are both included in Justice League Dark, but they inform the rest of the series. You have to read them, and it's a real slog. Slog. This is a book I wish I gave up on. Identity Crisis. Wow. I had to read that for an Omnibros. And I remember reading it. This is an interesting one because it's a book I read at first and liked. And then the more I got to know about everything, I read it early on in my when I came back to comics. Then I read it again, and man, there aren't enough words to tell you how much I hated that book. That book was out of my collection immediately. Holy guacamole. Please smash the like button. Thank you. Lars says, Moonshine, the Sandman, what will be strike 3?
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
One series I bailed on, I had the first 3 thick complete collections, was No Man's Land. I tried to get through Cataclysm and Road to No Man's Land, and I couldn't do it.
I'm worried now.
That 90s art was rough, man. Rough.
And I remember reading it and being interested in it in the 90s, and I bought the thick trades for nostalgia out of that, and I got a bad feeling when I start reading them that I'm going to be disappointed.
And I just couldn't do it. That 90s art and the storyline, it was just not great for me. I know a lot of people love it. If you love it, that's great. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. I just bailed on Superman, Where Is Thy Sting? I was bored out of my mind and couldn't finish it, even when it's super small. I'm not familiar with that. What is that? Is that a book or is it a story?
I've never heard of it either.
I don't know that one, Marcelo.
That's a pretty big deal if Jess doesn't know a Superman story.
It is.
Take away his Superman knowledge card.
This is for you.
What Brubaker and Phillips book do you think is the strongest showing of Sean Phillips' art? I personally think his earlier art in books like Criminal is better than his more modern art. I would say the Fade Out and Killer Be Killed are probably his best artistic showing. Everything is great, but I think especially those books in general really capture him at his finest.
Oh, and here's Larry. I think we agree with this about Igor Cordy.
Blah.
Wasn't he the new X-Men one we just got so disappointed with?
When you go from Frank Quitely to Igor Cordy, it's just totally pulled out of the experience. And that's a book where the story was good enough to keep me involved.
Yes.
But that's not always the case. And so that was a book where I'm like, hey, this story is just really, really hitting with me. I really love it. This art is just so distracting. I was able to work my way through it, though.
Yeah, agree, 100%. Okay, Warren Weaver, we're going to ignore this one. Shut up. Wow, they like Igor Cordy on another book after New X-Men? Right, I agree with that.
Yikes.
Yes, still alive, 77. He was their fill-in guy. It sucked. Top 5 Jeff Johns books.
Earth One is my favorite.
Agree. Earth One Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superman
Same.
Secret Origins.
Agree.
Really love that. Green Lantern, obviously.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else. I haven't finished his Justice League yet to really fully comment on it.
I will say that is number 4 for me.
I'm trying to think what else do I have on here that I really like. I really like Shazam.
I'm going to say JSA, even though I haven't finished the Omnis because I love the floppies so much.
I'm trying to think what else. I have a bunch of other stuff by him. I can't find it. Well, the ones I mentioned are good. Aquaman.
Aquaman's really good.
That's really good.
He made Aquaman relevant.
Yeah, so pretty much all of the Superman stuff is really good to me. So I've kind of lumped those all together. Because I really love... What's the one book he did with Gary Frank after Origins? Brainiac? Oh, man, that's such a good story.
That is good.
That's just a tearjerker ending as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
we both really enjoyed The Last Son of Krypton that included the Bizarro story with Eric Powell. That was great. So pretty much all the Superman stuff and this Legion of Superheroes, I really enjoyed that too. So all the Superman stuff is included in one big category for me.
I do have Blink. I have all 4 copies of it, so I'll be reading that soon. It's on the really soon to read pile, David, so I'll be reading it and reviewing it soon. Batman Ego is a great one-off. Oh my gosh, I must still be so far behind.
Probably.
Batman Ego, Batman Man Who Laughs. Oh, Batman Blink is what he meant. Peter Milligan's Batman Blink. Yeah, Blink is by somebody else.
I think you bought Blink while you were in Pittsburgh, didn't you?
I think I did.
I think I remember that.
And Batman Venom, I definitely bought in Pittsburgh.
Oh, right.
Black Mirror, if you're in a disgracing mood. Batman Snow was a multi-part story from Legends of the Dark Knight. Black Mirror, Doom that Came to Gotham. Rumor has it Jacques is going to get blocked. No, Preacher doesn't count, Lars, because it wasn't his cup of tea, because he has a completely legitimate excuse of blasphemy. He's a minister, and that book is blasphemous all the way through it. So you can't count that as strike 3. You're going to have to find a different one.
That comment was strike 3.
Huh?
Nothing.
For the Paul Dini Omni, you also need to know what happens in Grant Morrison's run. Otherwise, you will be lost near the end.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
I don't know. I can't remember that factoring in it too much, but maybe I haven't read it in a couple of years.
Going Sane? Do I know this book? Do you know it?
Not. I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of this book, James. I'll have to look it up. I have Batman Gothic. Pete's excited for the Man Bat Fig.
Yeah, I'm not. You know what wasn't a good figure? The Clayface poop figure.
Oh, and that most recent Kid Flash. Have you seen Kid Flash's latest figure?
McFarlane's had a lot of bad figures lately. A lot of bad ones.
He's saving me money.
That Clayface one was like
ridiculously
it
awful.
was like he looked in the toilet one day and was like, "That's a figure."
Hey! Let's not bring any toilet humor into my show, okay? Peace and love. You know me that well. Come on. I bailed on the boys after the second panel. I gave in an order to the Astro City Metro book from my LCS. I was pleasantly surprised to see a signed plate of Samaritan by Busiek, Anderson, or Ross. If they go HC, I'd even upgrade. Yay to Jess for giving New Warriors a chance. Yay me. This one's not happening because I'm not giving Darkhawk a chance. No, I am not. That one's getting read anyway. Volume 2 is. I love John's JSA. I don't know that Taylor's read it.
I don't have it all yet. I need to get it all. Collect it.
Is this an Omni form or paperback?
I had the first tray, but they just haven't followed through with all of it yet, so I didn't buy into it.
Okay. Busiek Conan is incredibly good. Okay, now we're getting caught up a little bit. Singles Marvel made me bail on Uncanny X-Men during AOA and Onslaught. I was not going to get all the multiple crossovers just to understand the main event. I think, yeah, the only ones I got rid of Onslaught. I kept Age of Apocalypse and Inferno. Those were the only two big events that I kept, getting rid of my 90s stuff. Now, Sergio, I really don't want anything really violent. I don't want to own a picture of someone cutting heads. Well, we'll tell you if it's too violent. Oh, I don't know that I can answer this question. Can you? Legends of the Dark Knight series? I can't. I'd have to look through my collection to see.
I do like Batman Gothic by Grant Morrison.
Okay.
Klaus Janson.
Yeah.
You bought Venom. That's one of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I really, really dig. Can't think of one off the top of my head. There's Shaman. What else is there?
Did I get Shaman while I was up there, or do I already own? I think I already own that.
I don't remember.
Is Prey part of that?
Yeah, that is as well.
Prey's good.
The earliest stuff is the best. After that, it kind of takes a dive.
I agree with that. Yeah, Pride of Baghdad. I don't even think it's in my collection anymore, or if it is, I can't read it again.
I love that book.
I know, and you should. It's a great book. I just can't deal with it. Do all Astro City Metro books from IST come with signed book plates? One came with mine. A pleasant surprise. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't buy it because I'm waiting for the hardcovers that are going to come out.
Oh, Crippling Depression. I take hate on Ed Brubaker seriously. Thank you for your super chat, buddy. Appreciate it. Well, this is not a book I would allow Taylor to even read. If he tried, I would tell him not to.
I like the show. I just didn't like the comic very much.
Yeah. I would. If you don't have access to the boys and you like the boys written material, it's extremely raunchy. It's the raunchiest comic this side of Crossed that I've read. It goes there. It raunchy, anti-feminist sex, just abusive sexual powers, weird. It's got a lot of weird sex and violence in it. So I don't
really like lighthearted and jokey Ennis. I like his more serious stuff like Punisher Max, A Walk Through Hell. What else has he done?
Well, you'd hate
Sarah
Daphne and Muttley. I can promise you that.
Yeah, for some reason I don't love his humorous stuff. I like his more serious stuff.
So if you want the boys, get the new Omnis. I would.
Yeah, I did hear about that. It's like 2 interconnected novels. I'll have to check that out.
The Road novel is 100 times more brutal than the movie. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that to myself. I generally bail on the run-of-the-mill, drug-addicted, unhealthy, self-destructive dark hero. Well, why are you watching my show then? That's me. Main characters should be uplifting. Oh, because I'm uplifting then. Okay, good. I think oh my gosh, we're on the post-apocalyptic thing that was 15 minutes ago. I think post-apocalyptic stories are today's equivalent of the old westerns of 50 plus years ago, a place where anything can happen. I bailed on Deadpool Beginnings Omni. It was one of the earlier attempts at reading Marvel for me. It was 90s in all the wrong ways. Oh, gosh. I think I just finished reading that and loved it. What Deadpool did I just finish reading? It may not have been Beginnings. It may have been... Oh, no. Nah, it wasn't Beginnings. It was Joe Kelly. Sorry. You're probably right. Larry, you should just read the Judas Contract. It's way better than the beginning of the series. Yeah. The only good thing about Trinity War was the last couple of pages kicking off Forever Evil.
Yeah, it was just really bad. I gave it a 1 star on Goodreads.
Okay, don't ever comment on my channel again. That is crazy.
Unless it's in all caps.
Yeah, unless it's all caps. Then you can. Okay, here's 2. This shows the difference between people. Forever Evil was hot garbage. Forever Evil is amazing.
We can all agree Trinity War is bad, at least.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love Road to No Man's Land.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me.
Bailed on Salmon. Criminal I couldn't get into. I was bored out of my mind. Wow, what is going on with everybody?
Yeah, I think we disagree with Warren Weaver in a lot of books, which is fine.
And he's the one that got me on Gen 13. Ah! Any thoughts? You better believe it. On Nightfall or the character of Jean-Paul Vallée, Azzarello? Here are my thoughts. Ah! Blah! I wouldn't get it. Huh?
Yeah, not a fan.
Not a fan. Jeff Johns, give us the Aquaman, and Kelly Sue taketh away the Aquaman. Do you need the Blackest Night Omni to understand the Green Lantern run by Jeff Johns?
You have to at least read the Blackest Night issues.
I
have all the trades out because the Omnis were hard to get back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I have Blackest Night, the main series, as well as the Blackest Night Green Lantern issues. And that was good enough for me.
And there weren't any Blackest Night in the Omnis?
I'm not sure. It might have just been the Green Lantern issues.
Okay.
Sure. I don't have them, so I'm not really sure. I only have the trades.
And I haven't looked at them in 2 years, so I don't know. So somebody 20 minutes from now can give us the answer.
Right.
I'm reading that right now.
That was one I knew I wasn't going to like, so I just didn't even try.
That was a mistake.
I just don't like anthologies that much at all. I really don't.
No, I might root beer back that one. It was so bad.
I could just tell it wasn't for me. I didn't go for it. I'm
trying
to be very picky about Batman right now.
Yeah.
I can't buy a book because Batman. There's way too many, and there's too many bad ones.
Yeah. Now, have you read any issues online of Reptilian? Isn't that the Garth Ennis one?
I haven't yet. The one with Liam Sharp. I haven't read that.
Okay.
The art looks interesting. It looks like more like Dave McKean than Liam Sharp.
You know, I felt kind of bad because somebody recommended Batman the World to me, and I was like, okay, it sounds like an interesting premise. And as I'm about 3/4 of the way through, I was thinking, what's wrong with me? I'm not digging these stories at all.
Isn't it basically just they bring in talent from across the world to tell different Batman stories?
Like a Japanese Batman and a French Batman, things like that, or from their perspective.
Yeah, I can tell I won't like that, so I'm not going to try it.
Oh, dude, what? Warren Weaver, do we have anything in common? How could you recommend Gen 13 to me if you didn't like The Authority?
I love Frank Quietly.
Oh my God, so do I, and I love The Authority. That's one of the few books I genuinely opened the day I got it and read it right through.
Warren Weaver, you have to tell us something that you do like. Tell us 3 things you like.
Besides Gen 13.
We've only heard 3 things you don't. We only heard 20 things you don't like in this episode.
Yeah, that's not Gen 13. Oh, yeah, that's gotta suck. What's fantastic is that we have all these choices. Larry putting it in perspective. Criminal was awesome. Of course it was. Normally people like early Deadpool and very modern Deadpool. They think stuff in the middle like Daniel Way stuff is not good. That's because the Daniel Way stuff is not good.
I like Deadpool better when he's like a second tier character in a show, in like a comic, like All New Wolverine. I love his appearances in that. I love Uncanny X-Force and his appearance in that.
Yeah,
I like the Dugan and Posehn run, but I
love that.
I can get kind of tired of him if he's not done right for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Annoying.
I have a Wasteland compendium. I have a Wasteland hardcover that was one of the earliest things I ever bought. Has to be one of the oldest books in my collection I haven't read. I need to read that probably. Oh my God.
You have to say something that you like. You have to.
No, what time was this? This was 9:21. So, I'm almost caught up. Come on, Warren, give us some books you liked besides Gen 13, because everything you haven't liked and bailed on are things I've loved. Warren, you got to prove some stuff.
You got some explaining to do.
Yeah. Felt the good stories in Batman the World outweighed the bad, but there were some really bad ones.
That's why I feel Batman Black and White. There were some really big stinkers in that one.
That's what I loved about Harley, the red, black, white, and red. The majority of those stories were really good to great. And then it had a little Palmiotti Connor story stuck into it. And I am not, just because I like Harley doesn't mean I'm totally in love with everything. I did not care for the Eat, Bang, Love, Kill, Runaway tour thing. I did not care for that book at all. There's some other Harley books that I don't dig. So, but I will say Harley Quinn Black, White, and Red is great.
I've heard good things about Superman Red and Blue. Is that what it's called? Or
yeah, I have that. I've heard good things, and I need to read that too. This is for you.
I don't usually go back that far. I'm just not really that interested.
Right.
Nothing against the creators or that era. It's just not for me personally.
Okay, buddy, but let's hear some books you liked.
He liked the first half of The Authority. So
okay, give us 2.5 more you liked.
If someone said Batman Odyssey is going to be his favorite.
Oh my goodness. Then we'd have to, I really would probably put him in timeout.
I really want to hear more about the Hollow Earth theory. So I really want to read a book about Batman and the Hollow Earth theory. Is there a book you can recommend for that, Jess?
A good book?
Or just any book of varying quality.
Yeah, Batman Odyssey. Odyssey.
Write that down.
Odyssey. Odyssey. I love this. We've reached the baturation point. We have.
I haven't. As long as it's good stuff, I don't really mind there being a lot of it. It's just when there's a lot of crap is when it's annoying.
And I feel like there's some crappy crap out there now because you didn't like The Imposter. I didn't like The World.
The Imposter wasn't bad. It was just fine. It wasn't worth buying. It was a perfect hoopla. Like, it was perfectly serviceable, but it did nothing new. There's nothing interesting. The art was great. The story was just blah to me.
Oh, no, I hadn't thought about it. That Warren might be trolling me.
I don't know.
Warren on a cold streak with Jess tonight.
I think he's being serious. He's probably
I think he is too. Here he is. Stormwatch by Ellis, all-time favorite from him. Also, Planetary was amazing. Sleeper, all-time fave from Brubaker, then Incognito, and at Gotham Central I loved. All right, I'll let you continue watching the show and my channel. Well, I'm getting Legacy because I want to read it.
And those first 10 issues are great.
Taylor did not care for the final 2 issues, but I don't care. I still want to read it. No, that's not. No, it can't be Strike 4 because he doesn't go back that far.
Well, the good thing is I don't care about the strike, so he can strike you as much as he wants. That comment is your 4th strike, so you're not just out of the game, you're out of the stadium, bro. He doesn't like our figures either, so we can't talk about that.
I feel like Batman follows the same formula anymore. Some childhood friend and our distant relative ends up being the villain, with the main baddies being red herrings.
It depends on the story. It can be good or bad.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you do it.
Age of Apocalypse, I love, would be perfect, but Generation Next, I hated the art so much. Yes, we all agree on. Oh no, wait, Long Halloween. That's the Tim Sale stuff. I thought you meant Hush. I don't hate Tim Sale so much that I can't enjoy all those stories. He's just not my favorite artist. Well, that's the way it goes, Marcelo. Well, we did say, when are you going to bail on a book? So that's why this is a primarily negative episode.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess that's what we get.
Yeah, it's different for everybody. Everyone has their different standards. Everyone has their different likes and wants, and we're all going to bail on different books. And now there might be some crossover. There's a lot of books that a lot of people have bailed on together, so it's probably speaking to its quality. But just because somebody else bailed on it doesn't mean that you're going to.
Okay, you can stay, Warren.
It's hard to imagine someone hating that book. That's a great book. I still need to read, what's it called? Uncanny Avengers.
I do too.
The reason I didn't is because I know I have to buy Access, and I don't want to read that.
Can't you read it? Oh, you don't do Marvel MU.
I can read on Hoopla probably, but it does kind of bug me whenever you have like the end of a series and you don't have it in your collection.
I do have it, and I understand that it's apparently not very good, but I had to have it to finish the story. So
then the awkward thing is that Remender came back with only 5 issues of Uncanny Avengers that's not in the omnibus, and then he left Marvel. And so there's a skinny trade.
There is?
After. Yeah.
Is it called Uncanny Avengers?
Yeah.
I wonder. Okay, I don't think I have it.
Remember back when well, they still do this, but remember when Marvel was doing new number 1s every week?
Yeah,
they're still kind of doing that, but back then it was back in 2010 to 2015, it was a new one every single month. Back to number 1 a year later, but that was back when they kept restarting and rebooting books, even with the same creators. So that's the reason why I've kind of held off on it, because I know I need to read Axis and then the follow-up trade after that. I
understand this one sort of.
I am definitely not as cold on the end of his run that a lot of people are. It wasn't as good as Court of Owls or Death in the Family, no, but I think it was still good. I think the early stuff is just so good it was hard to top.
I think you're right.
But I think it was still really solid stuff.
Thunderbolts Omni he loves. Okay, we got
Absolute
it now.
Wildcats, Jess. Jess, you still have that book, or did you?
Oh, I sold it for $225.
How much did you get it for at the shop?
100.
Oh wow, that
was marked down from 125.
That's a good flip. I'm glad we found that one.
That paid for 2 nights stay at that hotel.
There you go.
1 night stay
for that almost smoking room you had. I seriously had no idea there were still smoking rooms in hotels until I was helping you bring your stuff into that room, and it smelled like we were at a bar in the 80s.
Oh,
it was horrible. I personally can't stand the smell of smoke like that. I just can't take it.
I can't either. I can't either. And I was like, there's something. We both had masks on and we smelled it. Because I was wearing my mask up there in November, and we still smelled it. And I think I needed a little. I'm always afraid to bail on the first when to bail on the first hotel room I'm showed, and we both started looking at each other, and we realized that there was smoke in there. And we just asked for a no smoking room, and it was about 20 times nicer and brighter and much way better.
For sure. Yeah, someone's talked about bailing on Batman Eternal. I just bought all those for really cheap at Ollie's.
I almost bailed on Batman Eternal. I will tell you, good books to get is Batman and Robin Eternal. That features the Robin family kicking butt and that was really well written. I love Batman and Robin Eternal.
I was able to get all these for $8 each.
I think that's fine.
That's a pretty great deal. I know it's not going to be my favorite Batman thing ever, but I think for $8, that's hard to beat.
I think so too. Wow, this is surprising. I wanted to bail on Uncanny X-Men nearly all the way through Volume 1, but it got better in the last third. Knowing it's an iconic run helped me keep going. Volumes 2, 3, and 4 were all incrementally better. I'm glad I didn't bail. I'm still trying to find Eternal for a good price. Batman Eternal.
Go to your local Ollie's if you have one. Maybe you don't. If you're out in the United States, then that's not an option. But if you live in the United States, see if you have an Ollie's, because they all pretty much have them, it seems.
Rodimus Prime Rib says that was a steal.
Yeah, and I need one more volume of Wonder Woman Earth 1 by Morrison. I found both of them, volumes 1 and 2, for $4 each.
Whoa.
So that was worth it.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is a hotbed of comic book heaven, I think, for collected editions.
I find a lot of great deals up here.
Yeah. He bailed on the Eternal trades. Well, we'll have to see. He got it for a good price.
If I bail on $24 for 3 books, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you could probably get your money back somewhere.
And I met a guy at Ollie's who we struck up a conversation, and he followed me on Instagram, so that was cool.
Sweet.
He was asking for all my opinions on comics, and I gave it to him. I probably talked for too long about. If you ask me my opinion about comics, I could talk for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted my recommendation, so hopefully I was able to help him out.
What island do you live on, Rodimus Prime Rib? Is that England? Or where are you, like in a Tahitian island, or where are you? I'm assuming it's England.
Man, that'd be tough to be a comic collector anywhere besides the U.S. That's rough going.
I was talking to Max Appleman about that, and he has to pre-order all his books, or by the time they come up for sale, they're at full price there in the Netherlands. And international shipping is just out through the roof, so he can't really do any U.S. shopping or anything. So I agree, it's tough. It's tough. Oh, Puerto Rico, right?
Are you Geo?
I bailed on Doomsday Clock. I get it.
I like that book a lot more than most people do. A lot more than Jess did.
Yeah.
If you approach it as a Superman book, then you'll like it, I think. If you approach it as a Watchmen book, you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's basically a love letter to Superman and why he's so important to the DC universe. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, you'll enjoy it more. I think if you read it a second time, Jess.
Yeah, I kept it.
I think maybe I'm wrong. I think if you read it a second time, knowing what to expect, I think you would enjoy it more.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. That's my assumption.
No, I think there was enough in there that I liked. I kept it, so I'm up for rereading it.
I totally get why people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely buying the Absolute when that comes out this year.
Oh, okay, good.
Because that Gary Frank art is fantastic.
Yeah, really.
At least.
Would you say you're a read? I think Taylor's a reader and I'm a collector. Is that right?
I collect to read. Like, I don't just collect these comics to look at them, even though I like how they look. I collect to read them. That's the cool thing about collecting comics, that it's not just something to look at; it's something you can actually engage in as well.
Okay.
I like collecting toys because they really make my collection pop and really make it more aesthetically pleasing.
Since I'm still selling off books from my childhood that I'm getting CGC'd, I would say I'm more of a collector to collect. This is a good thing to talk about because I got that in my haul from Organic Price Books. I got Batman 3 Jokers. I don't have it, and since they sent it to me free, I'm going to read it. I know everything. I've heard the Omni Bros all talk about it relentlessly, but I still want to read it for myself. And we can talk about my code, Omnidog, for $2 off. Use the link down below in the description for Organic Price Books and 5% off shipping 3 or more books together. Omnidog, ship it together. Or as my wife says, Omnidog, get it together. And she really does say that.
I'm not surprised.
Super Laugh Hard is a reader first and a collector by accident.
The reason I would say I'm not a collector is because if I didn't collect this stuff, I wouldn't collect anything else. I think you would find something else to collect, which you already you have before. You do have other things you've collected. I think that's really like an intrinsic part of who you are. Yeah, I don't think collecting is necessarily an intrinsic part of who I am.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That makes sense. But I still am a collector, though. But I think it's really, you would have found a way to collect anything, even if it wasn't comics.
Yeah.
Based on all the stuff you have collected, cereal boxes, vinyl, what else?
Statues.
But like non-comic related stuff.
Okay. Like I collected a lot of historic paraphernalia. I had a plastics collection for a while, special kind of neat plastic things. I had a Art Deco spritzer bottle collection. I still have it. I have a lunchbox collection, a cereal box collection that I have just sold. I'm putting the last of it up for sale on eBay. I collected lunchboxes for a while, action figures. Let's see. I collected baseball cards for a while. Man, I was into collecting those Marvel cards back in the 90s. I really liked that first series of Marvel cards. I would drive straight to my LCS every Wednesday to see if there were new cards packs out. And now I don't know what to do with them.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't a collector. It is a lot of hassle.
Oh, yeah. Just and I don't even want to move it ever.
Yeah, well, I watched Omar on his channel about his move. He had 2 moving trucks. I know it wasn't just his collection, but 2 moving trucks for a family is pretty intense. That's a lot of stuff. So yeah, his collection is probably 10 times bigger than mine. So it gives me hope. Yeah, I think if you factor in all the stuff that you have, they're probably comparable. But in terms of comics, he definitely has more than you do.
Yeah.
But man, that makes me feel better about my move. It's not going to be that bad in comparison. My collection is nowhere near as big as his is. I mean, a basement versus a room in your house it's just going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
He also collects things that he hates, which I can never personally do. And that's not throwing shade at him at all. That's the completionist mindset.
Yeah.
I could never have something in my collection knowing that I absolutely hate it. And I have no intention of reading it, if that makes sense. Even though I am tempted to get rid of Trinity War, but if I want to do a reread of that series, I'll have to have it, so I'm not going to get rid of it. I like the rest of the series. Origin was really good, that first volume of Justice League. The Villain's Journey was meh. I liked Throne of Atlantis, and Trinity War was just straight up bad.
Yeah. They are all in a box somewhere. I opened them up. I don't have anything unopened, so I probably can't. I probably can't get much for them.
I used to collect Beanie Babies hardcore in the 90s, back when we were told they'd be worth a ton of money and they'd get us to retirement.
So did my daughter.
Did she have a collector's guide?
Somebody may have given that to her for her birthday when she was like 8 or 9. Yeah.
And the protective covers for the tags, the heart protective covers.
She didn't get into that, but I understood why those were out there.
What else? There's Pogs. Is it Crazy Bones?
Crazy Bones. Yeah, she loved Crazy Bones.
I love Crazy Bones. Now that was fun because you actually play with them.
Yeah.
That was really nice. And I remember just setting those up with my friends at lunchtime and things and playing with that. Those were really fun. But man, that can really hurt your fingernail when you flick them. They were just killing my fingernail sometimes.
I just got the new volume for $60 off Amazon a couple weeks ago, and we'll have to get volume 2 when it comes out. That's right, you will. It's great.
Volume 2 is probably the better of the two. It's probably
I love the first issues the most.
I read Dark Side War because I had the omnibus. I read that years ago and I loved it. So I know I love the ending of it.
Yeah. I have to excuse myself for a minute. So it's going to be your show for 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
2 minutes. I don't know how fast I can get what I have to get done. So it's all yours, buddy.
All right.
Talk to this guy.
Awkward. We can all just sit here and stare at each other for 2 minutes and see how that goes. People asking Jess about his cards, which I cannot speak to, so I'll have to talk about something else. So people ask other questions because I can't talk to you about Jess's cards. All right, so my mom, as Carl N says, my mom did the Beanie Baby thing. I think NFTs are the new Beanie Babies. Yeah, I have a ton of Beanie Babies. I have a huge basket in my basement. I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of it because they're not really worth much. There's like 2 Beanie Babies that are worth a lot of money, and I don't have either of them, so I'm kind of screwed over there. Lloyd Wong, kind of opposite of when to bail on a series, but what gets you to pick up something you've never read before and actually read it? Are you mainly reading for the channel? Well, I don't. That's more for Jess probably, but I have my Instagram at Minister of Comics, which you can check out. I post my hauls, my reviews, and my recommendations. Sometimes I do feel like I have to read a certain amount from my Instagram to be able to post certain things. I'm trying to give myself more grace and not post. I got to post all the time. I started posting 7 days a week. I just couldn't keep up that pace. I went down to 5 days a week, and now I'm just posting whenever I feel like it, whenever it's enjoyable to make. I want it to be a hobby and fun, not something that just crushes me. But sometimes I do find myself reading specific things so I can get it out and get a post on my Instagram. But Jess and I don't really read as much for our shows as we used to. We used to do a lot of reviews, but now we do more topics and just hanging out. So I don't really find myself doing much reading for this specific channel. All right, Heroing 2.0. Sorry I can't highlight your stuff. Jess took away my power to do that. And you can tell him to give me back that power when he gets back. Heroing 2.0. I know this is off topic, but what do you guys think of the Murder on the Orient Express recent remake movie and sequel, A Death on the Nile, if you guys have seen them? I have not seen them. I do want to check them out. Agatha Christie isn't my favorite type of crime book. It's a little bit too neat and tidy. I'm not a huge mystery fan in that genre, kind of those cozy mysteries, but I do need to check that out at some point. And Sale Cleveland, who's talking just in caps for one word, because I just watched Murder on the Orient Express yesterday, and it was great. And this is from Marcelo Taylor. Choose my next crime read, Queen and Country, Whiteout, Fatale, or The Fade Out. Oh, that's a really tough one. That's a lot of great choices. I'll say read Queen and Country. I read 2 of the Queen and Country novels. I still have one more to read, and that really fills out the experience.
What'd you talk about? We're down to 20 viewers.
Oh, I was just talking about...
I'm kidding. We're fine.
All the stocks I invest in and how much money I've lost on them, and that just really didn't seem to really appeal to people very much.
Where'd you get caught up to?
The last thing I talked about was Marcelo when he asked me for his next crime read.
All right.
I decided Queen and Country because that's a series that doesn't get enough love.
Can we see your comic room? Like, did you already do that? 360 spin? Oh,
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll try to. It's kind of dark in here right now, but here's my DC shelf right over here. There's some of my figures. There's my Indiana Jones poster. There's some of my indie stuff back there. There's another indie shelf. And there's my Marvel stuff in the closet. I cleaned up my closet last year, and I got permission from my wife to put a new shelf in there if I clean out my closet. So that was a great compromise because my wife is a very cleanly person. And even though that closet was closed, it was painful for her to know that it was dirty. So she said, if you clean it out, you can put a new shelf in there. And that was a great compromise.
I've always wondered what it is about women, especially like my mother and my wife and your wife, that even if the cupboard is closed, it makes him crazy when you open it if there's stuff in there that's unorganized. I'm like, my mom would make me go through my drawers and stuff. I'm like, Mom, why do you care? The drawers and cabinets are closed in my room. It doesn't make any sense. They're organized the way I want it.
The thing I never understand and will never understand is why you have to make your bed, because you're just gonna mess it up later anyway. So I never got that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Kate and I, we have like a central like duvet that we both use, but we both have our own separate blankets so we don't steal it from each other.
Yeah.
And so making the bed's kind of hard with two separate blankets, but it's definitely nicer for sleeping in the middle of the night. I never get in bed and have to pull my blanket away from her. I have my own blanket already set aside for me.
Same here.
So I think that works out a lot better.
What do you think about Batman Metal? I finished it, but was slow at points. I enjoyed it.
I think it's the rare series where the spin-offs are better than the main series.
And it's an event that we actually like too, right?
Yeah, there's not many events that I like. I'm trying to think of what I like. That's a big one. What else? There has to be other ones that I like. I can never find things right off the bat. Definitely not Trinity War. I'm trying to think of other events that I like. I'm sure there's another one that I enjoy, but there's not a ton.
Have you read 52 or? I
haven't. I have to get that.
Yeah,
I've meant to read it, but I haven't.
I've been wondering if this isn't. For some reason, it's over on my shelf with Infinite Crisis and DC 1,000,000. Is the first Superman Batman, and the second Superman Batman Omni came out, and I don't want to just buy it to buy it. I don't know anything about that run to make me want to get it, and I don't want to watch anybody's review because I don't watch that on YouTube. I don't do any of that. I've been watching nothing but 3 straight months of Rams highlights, so that's the only thing I've been watching on YouTube. I am selling my Tomasi Omnibus since it's out of print. It's a great book and story. I just personally didn't love it and felt it wasn't going to get read again, and I felt it was better served getting me other Omni. That's a good way to curate your collection. If you're not going to read it again, it shouldn't be in your collection. I agree with that.
Psycho Cleveland, a duvet is like the bigger blanket. It's not like a blanket that you kind of put on top of you. It's like the second blanket you put on when it's warm out, when it's cold out in the winter. Go Swiffer your walls.
We actually do like that. We do Swiffer our walls.
It does work.
I agree with that. I'll go so far as to say I like Witchfinder, Lobster Johnson, and Abe Sapien. I enjoyed those more than Hellboy. I've enjoyed the BPRD books more than Helljoy, more than Helljoy. And I want to read Baltimore. I need to read that because Lady Baltimore just came out, and I got to read that.
I have this on my one shelf on my desk. I have the original Baltimore illustrated novel.
Oh,
by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden. I remember reading this on the bus in middle school and really enjoying it.
Oh, cool!
And there's like small illustrations by Mignola inside of it. So this is like the kind of the basis for the comic.
I love the cover.
Yeah, it's a really cool painting from him for sure.
Wow.
I just got Lobster Johnson picked and scanned, so I'm excited to get that in because that was one that's like it really sold out quickly. I think
it did too.
As do most Dark Horse books because Dark Horse can't get their crap together with printing enough books.
Hit that like button. Cycle Cleveland says, Marcelo, I just ordered Stray Bullets yesterday.
Oh, that's
excellent,
one I have
Marcelo.
to get.
You are living life correctly.
I still need to pick up the rest of Stray Bullets. I really did like that first volume.
Okay.
I also haven't read all the BPRD. All I've read is Plague of Frogs. But I have Hell on Earth and The Devil You Know, so I have to finish that out.
Gerard, I am, but Taylor's not going to upgrade. I am, and he is not.
I'm trying really hard to upgrade nothing.
Yeah.
There might be some things I could be sold on, but it's like very rare. I can't keep doing it.
Let me ask you this. Did you have the 7 to Eternity trades?
Yeah, so I have all of Rick Remender's books in trade form. and so I just didn't want to do the hard work of selling them and upgrading. And
so you're not going to upgrade 7 to Eternity?
No, I'm just gonna keep the trades because a big part of it for me was a lot of his early Image hardcovers were bad quality and bad binding, like that first Black Science hardcover.
Yeah,
and there's a couple other instances too. I saw so many pictures of that on the Facebook group, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick with my trades because it seems like people are having a hard time with some of this binding. I think it's been rectified since then, but now I'm too committed with the trade format with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I just don't want to. Because I'm not going to get that much money for all the trades in comparison, and so it's a lot of money to spend.
I get it, but I would have thought that the Jerome Opeña art might have drawn you in.
At this point, I just have so much of him in trade paperback from Image. It's just there's no point in upgrading certain ones, if that makes sense.
Sure, fair. Cycle Cleveland still not getting it.
Yes, I go Cleveland. So like in the summer month and spring months, it's not cold out, so I don't need a duvet. But in the winter months, sometimes you need to have both. So there's 2 blankets for each, 1 blanket for each of us, and then a duvet we can pull up for both of us if we both want it.
Same here.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Jess and I are trailblazers. If I had another bedroom, I would sleep in that bedroom. Because I love being married. The worst idea ever invented was sleeping in the same bed with your spouse. Kate and I both. There's been a couple of times we've been on vacations with family, and we've gotten stuck with the twin beds, and we love it.
Yeah,
it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, even like when we go to hotels and stuff, we always get 2 beds.
I just don't understand. I wish it was back to the Dick Van Dyke days. Like, I know that wasn't actually what people did. I don't think so, at least. I know it was more for TV standards and practices than what was actually done. But I kind of wish it was like that. Get the nightstand in between the beds. That'd be fantastic.
I'm not opposed to that. We do it a lot.
Like if I was you, Jess, or if I was my parents, they have like 2 guest rooms upstairs. I would just sleep in one of those bedrooms every night. That would just be my preference.
I think, yeah, some people really dig it, though. I think it might be you and I that don't dig it.
All right. Well, I know my wife doesn't dig it. I think we both would like to sleep in separate beds, just because I feel guilty if I snore, if I wake her up. I don't have to deal with that if I'm in a different room.
True. I'm all for it.
We should have a bill passed through Congress. No more shared beds.
Duvets are way more common there. Mignola's Witchfinder is great waiting at the Lobster Johnson.
Now that's one you're not upgrading, right?
No, I'm not. I'm sticking with the trades.
Well, the trades are pretty much the same size as the hardcover.
That's how I felt about Abe Sapien, and I said
it's like a little bit taller, but not much.
Yeah,
I think the page size is still the same anyway. I think it's just the hardcover, like this part to stick out, what makes it longer. So I don't think it really is a different page size.
Yeah, and after Abe Sapien, I said I'm not upgrading again. It was traumatic. Cycle, what is with you? We're talking about when to bail on a book, not
I think you're too obsessed with my sleeping habits.
BatCave.
I think he's like trying to get a picture of my bed or something. Which
get I'm not 2 debates. No, that's not the point.
I think I'll stick with my current setup.
do you have separate sheets and blankets, right?
Not separate sheets, we have separate blankets.
Oh, okay. We have 2 mattresses. That might be why we sleep together a little bit better now.
You have 2 mattresses.
2 separate mattresses. They're those sleep dial ones where you can adjust them.
Now that I feel like Cycle Cleveland. I can't picture that.
Okay, I need this raised up a bit so I can sleep better. I sleep on my back. And Patty likes hers raised a little bit, and I will be the first to say she came home with these mattresses, and I had no say in it, and they just got installed. I'm like, what the heck? But now I can't sleep without them. I need my bed raised, my mattress raised a little bit, and so we have 2 separate mattresses, and so she doesn't feel it when I get out of bed, and I'm not kicking as much as I used to. And I have a sound machine that helps me get through the night. But it could all be solved if there was just 2 bedrooms.
Do you know what what's really changed my sleeping is wearing earplugs every night. I have slept like a dead person for the past 3 nights because of that. I still have the sound machine on. I can still hear it. It's like a nice melodic sound, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't hear Kate waking up or like tossing and turning. I just feel like I sleep the entire night. I haven't woken up once until I woke up in the morning for the past 3 nights.
That's awesome.
So this is the sleeping advice episode, everybody.
We'll get it back to comics. I've read Morrison's Kid Eternity and Sebastian O, and I liked both of those. I read Mystery Play, but I think that might be one that went over my head a little bit. But I liked Kid Eternity a lot and Sebastian O.
One that I can't find by him is Sea Guy.
Oh, that is so out of print.
Is that like a trade, or is that collecting other stories?
It is the thinnest trade. It is the teeniest trade.
Yeah, I've never seen it anywhere. I tried all my LCSs; they don't have it.
Oh, I can already tell you he's going to say no to this.
I thought about it, but I just don't want to upgrade, man. I just really don't want to do it.
It's extra money, so
nobody's gonna want to buy those. That's the thing, and so I'm stuck with them. I don't want to I don't want to keep their own money. I want to focus on stuff I don't have yet. And I'm starting to get to the point where I'm going to start buying way less. I think after May, after the Parker Martini edition and some other stuff comes out that I want, I might take a small break from buying stuff for a little bit. I just can't keep buying for years and years. There has to be a point where I start slowing down.
Does there?
Well, you tell me. You're the one who's slowing down hardcore.
I'm 30 years older than you, though, too.
Oh, well. But if you started collecting at my age, though, you'd still have the same problem at some point.
Yeah.
The space issue.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a matter of your age. I think it's a matter of space.
I don't remember this. I read Slott's She-Hulk all the way through and didn't mind it that much. But Slott's She-Hulk is testing Ms. Camarel with the art.
You know what I'm excited about? The Silver Surfer omnibus reprint by
So
Slott.
am I.
I missed out on that one hardcore. Don't you have it?
I sold it to who wanted it really badly, Raleigh Smith, the original one, because I had the 2 Marvel Masterworks.
I'm talking about the Dan Slott one.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
The Dan Slott Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer. Oh, yeah, I have that. I never sold that.
I was gonna say, I was like, Masterworks. Why would they have a Masterworks?
I thought you meant Silver Surfer, original Silver Surfer.
No, I'm really excited about that because I remember years ago IST put it up that they had more copies on sale.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought it, but they didn't have any, and it was a mistake. And I was so excited and immediately disappointed. It was like the next day.
I remember that.
That was such a crushing blow because I wanted that book so bad.
I remember we went through that together, Taylor, because you were crushed.
But
I don't blame you.
Every Marvel book's gonna get reprinted, so there's no reason to freak out because every book's gonna get their day at some point.
Yeah, I can't recommend the Dan Slott Silver Surfer enough. I genuinely cried at the end of that. I'm still waiting for DCBS to send me the final issue of 7 to Eternity. Yikes. Wow.
I do need to read that whole series. I read the first 3 trades a couple of years ago. I need to read all of it now.
I loved Witches, and I haven't finished American Vampire. I need to finish it. You finished it, right?
Yeah, I finished it in December. Severed is also really great.
Love Severed.
I hope he gets back to Witches at some point.
Yeah, me too. Okay, all this talk about the
people are really obsessed with how I sleep.
How many trades are there of Sleeper?
Just 2. But I got stuck because DC, where is it? Oh, it's over here. DC started doing this Wildstorm Classic line, and they did 1 volume of Sleeper. It's like a really thick trade, and they just didn't collect the second one. They just didn't do it. And so I found an LCS that had the second volume, but the first and second volume of those different editions had the same exact cover, which looks so dumb when you take them both out and hold them up together.
I know.
But it is what it is. It still works. They still read well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stick with it.
I almost bailed on Postal after 4 issues. Salvatore told me to keep going. It was really hard to pitch down, which is good, but wow, that was disturbing too. Yeah. Postal is one of my all-time favorite books. I love that book. It was highly disturbing, but really, really well thought out and interesting. Love that book.
I might give a 5-minute warning right now. I'm getting pretty tired.
Okay, we can do it sooner than that.
The minister gets tired nowadays.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here too. I'm in the middle of the Lock and Key, the Kiosk Compendium. Should I get the upcoming Golden Age HC, or will there be more Lock and Key leading to another compendium? This is a good question.
I only have the trades, so I don't have the hardcovers.
I got the hardcovers, and then I made the mistake of buying the little teeny expensive as hell books that came out after it, small hardcovers. That was a mistake, and those got collected. So I'm not buying any more Lock and Key until it's collected. Whatever the little ones, if the little ones keep getting collected, I'll read it that way. I'm not shelling out for any extra Lock and Key.
IDW goes hard after new editions of Lock and Key, so there's gonna be something you want at some point.
Yeah,
they reprint that in different formats all the time.
Sorry, guys, I'm assuming I've been trying to watch this. Then All of Us Are Dead on Netflix at the same time.
You're not forgiven.
What's All of Us Are Dead?
It's a show that you'll add to your list and never watch.
Okay, good. Please remember Organic Price Books, code Omnidog for $2 off your order, and another 5% off if you ship 3 or more books together with Omnidog Ship It Together. You can use the link that's highlighted in the description below. And let's see, you have an Instagram page with a lot of followers.
I have an Instagram page. I wouldn't say the second part, but I would say that I have an Instagram page that I enjoy doing. I do hauls, reviews, recommendations, reels every once in a while. So you can follow me at Minister of Comics on Instagram.
And he teaches me everything I need to know about Instagram. And I don't post on Instagram enough. I'm on Omnidogs_vault on Instagram. And I will be putting out some new videos this week. So, on behalf of the Minister of Comics and myself, thank you to the chat. You were great tonight. And peace and love, peace and love. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please comment. Go to Organic Price Books. Go to Minister of Comics on Instagram. Peace and love. Peace and love. Good night, everybody.
Baturdays, Baturdays. Omnidog and the Minister of Comics talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat with the name